Guys, what up? We're back on one. Check the title and the timestamps. We're going to be covering Zaok, Gatos builds, different variations of the build, things you can do in the game. This is one of those builds. Disclaimer, I will timestamp this. This build takes a while to get into because some of the variations of this build, your main purpose is to attack hangars. Like I believe on the last episode that should be posted before this one, we did not have Preemptive Demolition on. Preemptive Demolition, so we'll kind of jump into this, is the policy card that unlocks, you guys can see it right here, your ability to hit hangars. Everybody in the game tries to protect where they rally their ships. This card allows you to hit those hangars or ships that are sitting that have not been put into a fleet. You know, as the server goes on, 14 days, 16 days, 18, 20, 22 days, people really start stockpiling a lot of ships if, for whatever various reasons, they don't have the labor for them. They simply like they have tons of ships, and they're not hitting anything. Like they're playing defense. So 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 scouts, 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 Corvettes, a lot of lights. If that's all you're doing is spamming lights, you're going to have a lot on your hangars. So before I get into the policies, I've got everything kind of wrote down. So once again, this is going to be different variations of Gatos. So what is Gatos? Gatos is, I mean, there's two factions you can choose to run this. The free one is Frontier Legion. It gives you two. You guys can't see down here, but there's two military slots and then the wild card slot. So you can obviously run 3 military cards because wild card you can use any card in there. The bonus, the reason that the Frontier Legion, the free to play version of this, is good is because your Corvettes cost 5% less time. So the Frontier Legion is going to be able to make, you know, they get a front end bonus of just accruing and amassing more ships. So this is obviously, and then obviously you guys can see the other kind of buff that they get. They get 30% experience gained, which is amazing. But the ways that I use Gatos is they're suicide squads. Most of the time, everything's dying. So with that in mind, if the fleet or the ships completely die in a raid or in any any attack whatsoever on defense and it gets wiped, you don't get any experience. That something has to survive from the fleet in order to accrue the experience. So this is kind of good. This is kind of not good, and obviously, the Frontier Legion, it has the patrol. Well, I'm not using patrols. We use Corvettes, and then Zaok is the one that I use. Your ability to get the +2 speed to rating and the cargo space, and let's see what's this other one. Oh, the 20. So this is huge. So we'll touch on this for 2 seconds. The plunder value on this thing is amazing. And then this is extremely huge buff here. Firepower and hit points by 10% while raiding is massive. The combos that you can do with this. So Zaok has the capacity to have 3, possibly 4 military cards applied. So you guys can see mine currently. So there's a lot of cards we got to go over here, and maybe we'll just do this first. So we'll go over to do our policies first. Savings on Corvette production. I'm doing this Gatos build. Is, like I said, it's a suicide. You're using before I get into this, we'll do this. So we go like this. So if you guys can see this is Gatos Fritos. You put this on your labor. It buffs how much firepower your Corvettes get, but at the cost of health. So it's getting on raids. So if your Corvettes are just sitting there, and they're not going to get this, diminishing value if they're just sitting in there and they get hit. This is for when you're throwing them at something and the raid hits. They're like little suicide squads, but they do a lot more firepower. So, like running into, frigates or carriers, trying to pick things off here and there. That's what you're trying to do is hit deploys of scouts, hit deploys of recons, hit sabotages that are coming back. That kind of play is you're trying to trade. Like I said, you're trying to trade Corvettes for recons. You're trying to trade Corvettes for hangars. You're trying to trade Corvettes for things that cost a lot more than your ships do. So, like I said, you build Gatos freezes at your labor. It gives the buffs, and then there's a combo piece for other things that are happening with your station. So we'll kind of go over that. We'll go back to policy. So Frontier Piracy is cost savings on all your Corvette production. Preemptive Demolition, this is the huge one. This is the one that, like I said, on my build that I'm doing, you're going after hangars. So I'll reference this real quick. We actually have something in the air that's about to hit, and I wanted to show this before it actually hit. So I spied this location. There's some scouts or some recons here, and then they have some things in their hangars. This is the point of this build. Is you're going, like I said, you're going after capitals. So you guys can see there's a bunch of shit. All these little battle tag markers. It prevents you from seeing where capitals are. You can come up here. You can go to display recent activity, and you can shut it off. So now you can see where all the capitals are. The orange diamonds that are way bigger. That's what you're targeting. Like when you're setting up your raid and your fakes, all you're doing is you're going after hangars. So we'll be able to look at this attack coming in here in a little bit, and this attack is like 1.2 million health and 1.2 million firepower with 8 stacks of 800 Corvettes, and I already know what's here, so we'll see and be able to look at the battle report and hopefully have something jump back. So, and then we'll be able to reference that and look at the hangars report, what we killed, how much res we take, and all that good stuff. So we actually can click on this real quick. You guys can see the fleets themselves. They have 100% plunder. Every single one of these fleets that are in the air have the blue plunder cards on them. So the overall, in order to have 100% plunder, every single fleet has to have 100% plunder. So every single one of these fleets that are flying in here have the blue plunder card on them. So it's an average. If one of these fleets did not have 100, obviously we would not have 100 plunder when you hit this thing. So get back to the policies. We'll continue. So right now I'm running Overkill, which is amazing. It's just at level 5. It's 8% firepower to all fleets. Obviously, there's so many other variations of this. You could if this was if we actually had a real threat, like a team of 16 that we were going against, and I wanted to stack up a bigger ball, like instead of the fleets being 800, you can use Viva card, which at level 5 it allows your stacks of Corvettes go to 1,000. So I could be sending the same amount of ships, but on less fleets. So I'm having to tear off less cards. Okay, so that's obviously something you can throw on here. Like I said, if this was a bigger server and there's a lot more activity, and I was building my big giant pool of Corvettes up to 20, 25, 30,000 Corvettes, you can do it in less fleets by putting this card on. So obviously you can tear off space lanes here. This is obviously the wild card slot space lanes. I could put Viva on here. We're not really worried about HP. Elite Navy, you don't really want that. Battle stations is actually a pretty good one. Maybe you take off if you're not having any resource issues, you could take off Frontier Piracy and put battle stations on. It just gives you two more speed. Professional Raider, if you're doing like if you are Frontier Legion and you're trying to hit that very important 100% plunder. You might be running professional raider and belligerents, just because both of these give these give 20% plunder just with these two cards on. But you can see you're going to get obviously less stats, maybe less savings, and your 3 card slots would have to be, if you were wanting to do, you needed the plunder and the preemptive demolition card at level. So you can see up here, like I said, this is a build for later on at character level 49. When you get preemptive demolition, you got to run these 2 cards plus preemptive, and you only got 3 military slots on Frontier Legion. So you'd have to, really only be focused on going after capitals. But like I said, with Zayok, it's just, you have way more options. That 20% plunder is huge. You're not having to run these 2 cards. You can really adjust and have more options. So Viva is an option. Battle Station is an option. And you're not using Justified Hostilities. You're not. So those are some pretty. These 2 cards are options. Viva you could swap on here. Oh, and then the wild card slot. So there is one more option. So Attack Doctrine is like right now I could be running this right now. I like speed. I'm flying really, really far across the map, so I want space lanes. But you could obviously run Attack Doctrine on here, which is massive. 14% at level 5, 14% firepower is just massive. I should probably be running this, but I'm not really worried about it. We already hit, so you can see down here my deal hit. But we will look at that here in just a second. I want to go into the actual. So that was the policy cards and the factions themselves. Frontier Legion it has less options. I feel like, obviously I'm only talking about the Corvette version of this. You can do a destroyer version of Gatos. So Gatos, once again, does buff destroyers as well. So you can see this destroyers by 140, but they lose 365 health. Instead of building, every single one of your stations with fleet docks and pilots, you instead you find 6-point, you find 7-point moon positions, and just spam destroyers all game, and you can do the same combos. The only problem with running Viva is this military policy card is you can't run Viva, because your labor, the downside of running Viva is you can make 1,000-point or 1,000 sized fleets of Corvettes, but you can't combo this. You get diminishing values of 300% for heavy. Your heavies cost 300% more labor, which is just, it doesn't work. So there is that. We can go to so I'll kind of rattle off here almost every single one. So the Viva, so the Gatos build, you're running fleet docks and everything. You want pilots on everything. If you're having resource issues, obviously you have to fix your metal issues. Corvettes, massive amounts of metal. Okay, and so trying to keep up with 6, 7, 8 stations and having fleet docks on all of them, and then you're going to get pilots on all of them, and then eventually you want the Gatos org also. Like I said, it's time savings on Corvettes, so you really can combo having fleet docks, having pilots, having Gatos, and then breaking cards off on them. The 10% time costs savings on you're going to be able to queue up so many Corvettes. You're going to be absolutely, if you've got, you can see my stations 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 6 stations making Corvettes with pilots, with Gatos, using time-saving cards on them. You're going to be able to make a massive amount of Corvettes. Right now it's day 14. If you come up here to politics, you can see down here at the bottom. For me, we're only 13 days and 5 hours into this server. We still have 2 more weeks of play, and like right now, if I go /ships, I have, well, I just hit something, but you know, I'm sitting at 17,000 Corvettes right now. And I'm just absolutely tagging every capital I see in range of where I'm fighting from. But so the other options, not only that, but at your labor, we can come up here and look at the labor build. So I touched on this for 2 seconds, but once again, this station is pilot, so I'm spamming Corvettes from here. Gatos, I'm spamming Corvettes from here. Huge combo piece, like I said. But right now, I got to look at this. I think I have the res here. So while I was babbling, I finally have the ability to queue up Magna. So my labor is finally going to be fixed in terms of buffs. So we've got Ataka here for the movement speed. We've got Magna for the ship buffs. We've got Gatos for the ship buffs. We have pilots for spamming Corvettes. We have the combo pieces that the labor, so military barracks is reduces the labor costs for Corvettes, and then cadet school buffs your Corvettes. So that's kind of the combo pieces on top of Magna. And so that's labor. So we went over the policy cards. We went over the factions that you can be. We rolled over the pieces for pilots, fleet docks, Gatos Fritos, and then the breaking off time cards for Corvettes. You just make a shit. As long as your eco's fixed, you know, you're spamming Zerachi and getting 2 metal refineries on every single one of your stations and industrial complex and station hall, you should be able to at least pay for most of the time the metal costs affiliated with spamming Corvettes. If you don't, make a couple of mining colonies, be able to, because you can go mining colony and spam Corvettes, which is amazing. You're not going to have issues. This is not a high eco build. The Corvette version of this, you're going to be able to make, as long as you're putting mining colonies on metal, they're going to be able to do, you're going to be able to pull in a lot of metal. You're going to be able to flare and eventually, like right now, so we're going to touch on here in a little bit, you're going to be able to raid people and take their resources. So that's kind of the build, and then we kind of went over the buildings, the labor buffs, the build. You know, we've pretty much touched on our buffs, our production, and our policies and the factions, and now we'll kind of go into more of the reason why we do this. Why is this such a good build? Well, because it takes you a while to get into it. It takes you, day 11, day 12, you're finally going to hit level 49. Your character is going to be level 49. You're going to be able to put on Preemptive Demolition, and now you're in a position where you're going to be able to start tagging capitals. So like I said, you can come back out here. This is the build that I play, and it's amazing. So we're going to go like this. I got to just kind of center my deal. So you guys can see this. I don't know why this is showing. Display recent activity, turn it off. So you can look at this. So like I said, I've been tagging, just like on the last video, I'm targeting, or we're fighting this this I'm targeting capitals. That's my only goal here, is to target capitals. We've hit this capital. We've hit this capital. We've hit this capital. There's 5 capitals within like a 5-hour flight of my fighting station. So that's another thing I can talk about here for 2 seconds. So you have the station that you're operating from and actually flying out of has certain things affiliated with it as well. You need your campaign directorate is buffing your operating fleets from here, and your sector command is buffing your fleets from here. And the only other thing that I've been really using to hit that 100% plunder, so maybe I touch on that, is this station. For the last 2.5 days or more, I've got a rocket on here. So for me, I'm going to slow down here for 2 seconds. How am I hitting on my build on Zayok the 100% plunder in order to hit these hangars? I've got rocket on here, the building, the station that I'm operating out of, where I'm flying out of, with a gate, with our EM launch pad, has less Apaches, 20. That's 20%. So I'm Zayok, 20%. Less Apaches is 40%. acquisitions is 60%, rocket is 80%, and then like I said, all of these fleets that are flying have the blue plunder card, which that's 104% plunder. So once again, preemptive demolition allows your fleets, your corvettes, your plunder values to hit hidden ships. If your plunder is 100%, you're hitting and killing everything that's hidden. If you're not hitting the 100%, you're preventing your build from working. Okay? So with that in mind, let's reflect, and we'll actually be able to see once you get this build, this set up, and you hit level 49, you really do start affecting a lot of you're harassing an entire alliance if you want to with raids. They're constantly having to move ships, move resources, or defend. They're either forced to be online to fleet up their hangared ships or move them, or defend at their stations, which means that they're eating Gatos. So one way or another, you're either forcing them to be online, or you're forcing them to defend, or you're hitting their hangars. So I'll show you what has happened. So 3.5 hours ago, out of this station, I set up 4 fakes. So I sent a fake over here to this capital. I sent a fake here, and here. And then I sent out my raid, or my stack. So obviously this is not the big, I mean, I have 17,000 Corvettes right now, but this was only, you guys can see this, look at this, amazing. So this just hit while we were sitting here bullshitting, okay? So like I said, I knew what was here. There's a stack and at least a stack of Corvettes, some recons, and then there was probably, at the time when I spied it, there was like 67,000 metal here. We obviously looted more. So you guys can see when we hit this, you can see the raid itself, things survived. So obviously I have 100% plunder. So I'm taking everything too. Not only am I hitting everything, but I'm raiding everything too because I'm 100% plunder. You can't hide anything with your container port if my fleets have 100% plunder and they survive. So 72,000 metal, 18,000 gas, 37,000 crystal here. And so when I set up, so I'm going to kind of peel apart setting up fakes. You set up fakes that go the same exact speed as your stack. If you're doing this, the way that maybe not now, but back when I was playing alpha, we could recognize fakes by the simple fact that sometimes people set them up and they're at different speeds. Okay, if I know I'm at my labor, I've got Attacka. Attacka gives 3 more speed. If I'm just sitting here setting up and just raiding, like I come over to my operating and I sit here and I just make a bunch of fleets, and I don't change where their labor's coming from. So I come in here and I put 1 ship in here, and I don't change where the labor's coming from, and I don't match the cards that I put on here. You're changing how fast that they're moving. You want to match your speeds always on anything you do when you set up a fake. It needs to have the same speed as your stack. So that's what I did. Is you set up, you make sure all your cards are on, and then you roll your view out here. We'll turn off recent activity, and now you can see, like right now on my screen, I'd have all my fleets here. I'd select my stack and attack, or I'd select my fakes and attack and send them off one at a time to all the other places I want to fake, and then you send your stack to where you want it to go. So that's what I do. It kind of makes people, it fakes them out. It kind of makes them like, okay, who's getting hit? it's really, really unnerving just knowing that you're constantly under harassment and possibly going to lose everything. So we'll kind of that's kind of how you set this up, how you set your fleets up, and now you're going to kind of see the main reason why we do this. So we'll open up what we just hit so you can see this. So I send out 8 stacks of Corvettes, 1.2 million firepower, 1.2 million HP. We don't have Magna, so Magna is not applied to these values. This is what we looted. Their losses. So my losses. Let's go over my losses first. 66,000 metal, 40,000 gas, 26,000 crystal. Their losses: 132,000 metal, 278,000 gas, and 88,000 crystal. So, and then we can look at this. So we hit. So if you're looking at these combat reports, you're going to be looking for something different. This little white symbol down here means that this was in the hangars. This was not fleeted up. This was in their hangars. So hangared ships like these ones, they get a diminishing value of 90% HP, and they don't have any firepower. So anything that's in a hangar does not fight, or does not reapply defensive firepower towards the things that actually attacked it. So these did no damage, and they're at 90% diminished value of their HP values. So we hit. So we can kind of peel this apart. We killed 41 destroyers. We killed. This was out of supply. Oh, okay. So there's other things that are happening on the map too. My team has attacked labor, like on the last episode, and you guys can look at the timestamps below and look at the end. You can see my team has attacked and blown up a lot of these guys' labor. So this is the reason why this fleet doesn't have labor, is because they blew up their ice. This one also. So these 800 and 800 did not have any ice or labor. This 174 did not have labor. These were not fleeted. 209 recons destroyed out of labor, and then 13 in their hangars. So kind of an unfortunate event here. I wish that these were actually had labor so I could get more experience from this. And it's nice. It's obviously nice that that they didn't have labor, but at the same time, it still would be kind of more helpful to have more of a most of the time you're not going to get people's fleets out of labor. They're not getting rolled over, but in this instance, this person is. So once again, we can look at the combat. I only lost 1,000 ships. They lost 1,240. And you can go to units. They lost 226 recons. So amazing. That's just one example. So like I said, this is what we kind of did. We kind of set these ops up. We targeted capitals, 100% plunder. And this is the result. I'm going to give a couple more examples here. So we're going to type in here and go to Freddy. So I hit this guy a couple of times. Let's look. So this was just 200. So 200 Corvettes. I didn't lose anything. Let's see. So he lost 2 carriers, 2 dreadnoughts, 11 frigates, and just a handful of ships here. Nothing too crazy there on that first one. The second one. So I had 2,400. I set 3 stacks of Corvettes. He lost 16 capitals, 123 heavies, and 969 lights. And we can look at this. So I said 3 stacks of Corvettes. I hit his hangars. So hangared carriers didn't do any firepower back. 66 frigates didn't do any firepower back. 196 scouts didn't do any firepower back. And then we also stole 50,000. What is that? 1749 or 47? 47,000 res. That's pretty good. We hit him again. So 800. He lost 1 capital, 11 heavies. I didn't lose any ships here. So my losses were 0. His losses were, nothing too crazy. 1 carrier, 11 frigates, a bunch of scouts. So, but you can see this. You just constantly keep coming back. They have to defend or they lose their hangars. They have to defend. They have to move or they lose their hangars. They have to defend. If they do defend, they're eating Gatos Corvettes. It's an amazing build. I would highly suggest people try it. 100% plunder. Yes, you have to wait. You're waiting almost 2 weeks to hit, or a week and a half to hit level 49. But once you do, you are a harassing machine. So we're going to look up one more. So the spiciest. So putting some of these guys on blast, I apologize. We're going to go in here and we're going to look up hell. So the first time we hit Hellraiser, nothing too crazy. I mean, units, 2 light ships, nothing too crazy. The only problem is when you're hitting things that are defending, you don't get the report. If you get overwhelmingly killed, you run into something that's way more defensive. Their defenses are there. You're not going to be able to see what you hit. You cannot tell. But when you do send something spicy, like this shot, where there's nothing here, you catch them. Obviously, I think that we kind of just he's playing a scout fleet recon build. So maybe he was somewhere else on the map, whatever he was doing. But we can look at the report. So I sent 800 Corvettes here, and we hit his hangars. So this is the juice right here. Hitting hangars, 82 carriers, 579 Corvettes, and 300 scouts. The main juicy part of this report is the 82 carriers here for free. You can see I didn't lose nothing. 800 Corvettes, they all survived, and they took out 82 carriers for free. So we can see this, losses. 400,000 metal, 187,000 gas, and 120,000 crystal. Didn't lose nothing, and we looted some stuff on the way back. So this is the build. This is what this build does. You target, you get your buffs, you get your combo pieces, you get your movement speed, you get your plunder values, and you attack capitals non-stop. For this hit, it was only 5-hour flight. My ships come back, I do it again. My ships go back, I do it again. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is just egregious. It's harassment. It's like my team, yes, my team cannot all be just Gatos players. I would be targeted. They should be punishing me and shutting me down from being able to do this. If I don't have my station here that's close by, this is like where I'm flying out of. You can see kind of how close I am to them. I shouldn't be doing this, or they should be stopping me. This is like having a Gatos player that's right next to you is absolutely horrendous. So, and then that's kind of like the build. And then maybe I'll just give an update what's happening on the map. So the reason why, we'll go up here and we'll turn our recent activities on. So the team, from the last video, you guys remember we had our fob was right here. We had killed the station that was here and their fob that they warped in. We warped into their ice. So the last video before this one, there's one spot open, and these were all their ice stations. We came in here, warped a fob in, and now they're all gone. So Puff goes all of these guys ice, and they're scattered. They're leaving. They're heading to Draco. I mean, it's catastrophic what's happening to this team, and server might be over. So appreciate you guys. This is the Capital Plunder Gatos build. There are other variations of this that you can try and do. You can get stacks of 1,000. You can do the Destroyer build. You can just have the big stack build where you're going after fobs like 30,000, 35,000, 20,000 Corvettes. Or you can obviously be using Destroyers, and your goal is to hit fobs before they jump. Tag me if you have any questions. Leave me some comments. Appreciate you guys. Till next time, this is Gambler. Peace.